What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about GALA. I don't know what to call it. I'm going to call it GALA or Gala, probably. This one's for Robert Lellis. You requested this, my man, so we're doing this one for you. And I was looking into it, actually. I was looking into the tokenomics, and I'm a little bit confused, right? Because I was looking into, you definitely can get a GALA node still. So if I were to purchase or procure enough GALA or ETH to have a GALA node, is that just a founders node? Because it says 100% of GALA is allocated to founders nodes within the GALA ecosystem. And then July 21st, 2021 through July 20th, 2022, which was over a year ago, right? Half of the GALA is distributed to founders node operators, and the other half is distributed to GALA Games conservatorship. So I don't know what that means, but it says 100% here's allocated there, but then between this time it said it was half and half. So I would assume that 100% is allocated to the founders nodes, but to me the wording of this makes it sound like you have to be a founder, right? It's not just anyone who owns a node, it's the founders nodes. But I would assume that you can't just, like, if you were to contribute enough ETH or GALA or whatever to have a node within the ecosystem, I would assume that you would still get rewards, right? You'd still get some of this daily GALA that is allocated to the nodes. So maybe founders nodes, maybe if you own a node, it's just called a founders node. I don't know, but I'm getting off topic here. What I really think is interesting, guys, is that the halving schedule for this thing is every year. Every single year on the 21st of July, the distribution of GALA will be halved. So, for example, on the July 21st of 2022, the daily distribution of GALA will be 8.56 million instead of 17.12 million. And that would mean this year, now we're probably at closer to like 4.258 million, right, per day that's being distributed. So there's definitely a lot daily that's getting distributed, but each year it's going to be cut in half. So it's, like, ultimately that will just kind of lower. And we're only about halfway through right now. At the rate we're going through, with the fact that it's in the billions, I'm kind of curious, actually. Let's do this real quick before we get into the TA, because I am just not calculator, Google Calculator. Damn it! I hate calculator.com. You guys got to update. It really needs an update. It's just a simple update. I'm sure that's all we need, but the people that made it are probably just like, they don't care. I'm gonna buy calculator.com and make a better calculator. I don't know how much they would sell it for, or if it's even for sale. But let's see. Okay, so if you had let's just do it right now. Let's do the quick math. 8.5. Come on now. 8.561. It's like it needs me to double click it I swear, any time that I use this calculator, man, every time I have to double click it. I'll start typing in numbers and then it doesn't go. 643. 8,561,643 divided by 2 equals this. Okay, so that's how many we're rocking daily right now. Okay. And then that times 365 would give us 100, 100,000, 100 million, 1 billion. So right now, throughout this year, from 2023 to the next halving, we will have generated 1.5, almost 1.6 billion. And then from there, until the next halving in 2025, we will have generated less than $1 billion. And then the halving, leading up into 2026, we will have generated less than $500 million, right? So that would mean that basically in the next 3 halving periods, we would have only generated 2 billion tokens out of this total supply. So this thing, man, I really do like this inflationary status that it has, because it is inflationary. Every single day it's inflationary, right? But it's inflationary at an insanely deflationary rate. So, like, it's the rate of inflation is deflating, or it's decreasing. The rate of inflation is going down year by year, and at a very, very, 50% every year, man. That's crazy. So normally, let's get into the TA now. If I haven't lost anybody, okay, if I haven't piqued your interest, I just want to say, man, this is unique. It's unique. Not only that, but like this shit right here, I really love this. GALA was a fair launch token. and did not have any pre-mint initial token allocation. Like the people that made this, they didn't set half of the supply aside, locked up in a cold wallet somewhere, distributed between 4 of the founders or whoever if they want to rug pull or sell it for whatever reason. Like they didn't do that. They have to earn it. 100% is allocated to the founders. You have to have a node to earn it, and you can only earn so much per day, probably depending on how many nodes are running, right? It gets distributed evenly, I would assume, like per node. I don't know. I've read a little bit into it. I actually went on the GALA like website itself. I have a hard time kind of finding answers, but from what I can tell, guys, this is unique. It's actually kind of unique. And I'm not a fundamental person. I am a technical person, so I'm not going to spend too much more time talking about this. But I love reading this. Like this statement gets me excited. Like, for lack of a better word, I'm absolutely excited about something like this. I really do like to see that. Not only that, but guys, check this shit out, right? $393 million, and the market cap is $367 million. You've got you've got a lot of volume on a coin that has like a pretty low market cap. Like, this kind of volume would be great for a $1 billion coin, you know what I mean? So like, and seeing that much volume, it's not always an indication that things are going to go up. It's not. It really isn't. Don't treat it like that. But if you have a good project, you want it to have good volume, and this is ridiculous. Like, for the market cap, this is ridiculous. So I'm sure some of it is just traded back and forth. Maybe it's bot traded, maybe it's not quite as it seems. I wonder. Let's go to coin market cap real quick, and then we'll get to the TA. I know I was almost there. I was teasing you guys, but let's actually get in, because CoinMarketCap might have a different story. Let's see. GALA here. 24-hour volume right here. Yeah, okay, so here. 24-hour volume is 52 million, right? And that probably makes sense to me. CoinGecko might gauge their volume differently than CoinMarketCap does. I don't know what their differences are, but CoinMarketCap is saying one thing, CoinGecko is saying another thing. And even, I want to say, even 52 million is still good volume. That's still really, on a $339 million asset, that's more than 10% of your market cap volume done daily. Like, that's okay. Okay, so just because that's a dramatic difference doesn't mean by any means that it's a bad thing. I really do wonder if there's a way to check the volume. Like, yeah, 15%. Like, that's great, guys. That's actually really great. I wonder if there's a way to see, like, the 7-day volume. Maybe there is, but I'm not going to spend too much time doing that, okay? So you've got good volume. Okay, you've got good volume on a chart that really, if I didn't know any of this coming into it, and I'm not a fundamental person. I don't like to use fundamentals, but I'm glad that I talked about it on this one before we getting into it, because looking at this, it's just a pump and a dump. I would generally write something like this off and be absolutely skeptical if it ever sees its all-time highs again. But guys, I'm actually excited. Like, I might have to, Robert Lellis, I might have to get some GALA. And I know I've made a video or two on it already, but I just haven't really looked into it. I do look into these coins, guys. I don't just make videos and then not look into them. I don't talk about all of them, but if I find something interesting, I'm going to talk about it. And there's a lot of interesting things. Every single coin is interesting, right? They've got very promising promises that they make. I'm sure GALA has plenty. I mean, it does have promising promises that it's making, but are those promises going to be fulfilled? I don't care. I don't bank on that. I like to bank on the charts and the tokenomics themselves. And seeing, normally seeing something that its circulating supply is less than half, I wouldn't get excited. But the fact that the remainder of this circulating supply won't be released like within my lifetime, that gets me excited. I love that. I love that my grandkids will be in existence and they will be 80 years old and GALA will still be pumping out new coins. I love that. I don't know if the math's right there. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I know I definitely would be dead at the rate that it's going down. Anyways, guys. Oh, yeah, I do that. I'm sure you heard that on the camera. Anyways, looking at this thing, guys, I generally would assume that this is a pump and a dump if I didn't know what I know about it now, and I wouldn't be too excited. I'm sure I would say something like it'll have a good bull run, it'd probably have a lower high. But knowing what I know now, I'm fairly confident that the fact that you have your halving, it's going to be on July 21st, which, by the way, the Bitcoin halving is in April of 2024, right? You have this thing's halving right here in July of 2024. When crypto takes off, it's not on the halving of Bitcoin. It's not before the halving of Bitcoin. Things get set up before the halving of Bitcoin. We come out of our lows, and yes, we have higher lows and stuff like that. But we don't really see the bull market take full effect until about a month to 5 months after Bitcoin's halving. And 5 months after Bitcoin's halving would be April, May, June, July, August, September, right? A year away from now. And guess what's right in the midst of that range? I'm going to make it white so it's obvious. It's the GALA halving. So for GALA, you have the Bitcoin halving momentum, okay? And you have the GALA halving momentum. I really think that this is going to be a fantastic bull run for this thing, okay? And I've speculated a lot without getting into the TA. We're going to get into the TA. I keep saying that and then we're not, but we're going to get into it right now. At this low, which presumably is the all-time low, at least on this chart, right? This, I believe GALA actually has been in existence for longer than this chart. Yeah, September 2020. This chart only goes back to September of 2021. Okay, so maybe that is not the all-time low itself, actually. That's a higher low, which is nice to see in something like this, but we are lower than that low now. But nonetheless, for the cycle low, well, I guess it's not the cycle low, is it? Because we're here. At this low, at this major low, we had a bullish engulfing candle with immense volume, okay? And it wasn't a wick. It closed up here, and we had time. We didn't give it back immediately. Yes, it looks like we moved in a straight line, but really we moved 1, 2, 3 months sideways. Even this 4th month, we barely broke out of this wick down here that we set, which was also like back here. It was really like after the 5th month that we broke out of this overall range. 4th, 5th month, whatever you want to say. And here we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months in the red. I do think that this thing has lower to go. I definitely do. But I'm excited. I'm nonetheless excited for the current bull market because I do think it will achieve new all-time highs. And from the current price, a new all-time high would be greater than a 62x, which is phenomenal in itself. But likely it wouldn't stop there. Likely we wouldn't get a double top. If we were to bottom out here, for example, come on now. If we were to bottom out here, for example, I would, wow, okay. The minimum expectation that I would have is that you would pull something like a, is that right? Yeah, that'd be like a 200x, man. Something like a 200x, if not more. If not more. And can this thing do a 200x? Well, its current market cap is 339 million, right? Let's call it, and it was 337 on CoinGecko. Let's just call it 340 to make things easy. 340 times 10 would be 3.4 billion. A 100x would be 34 billion. A 200x would be a $70 billion market cap. Is a $70 billion market cap a lot? Is it a lot? Yes, it's a lot. Is it achievable in the crypto space? Absolutely it is. Absolutely. $70 billion is an achievable market cap in crypto. And this wouldn't even be at a $70 billion. It would technically be a little bit below that. So can it hit the 1272? Absolutely. I think it absolutely can. Can it go further than that? Sure. You know, could it be worth more than $100 billion? You know, sure. 70 billion here, right, at a like 194x. So if we did a 388, let's call it 390x, you could hit the 1414. I don't know if you would achieve too much. Like, I don't think you'd see this 1618, at least not in this cycle. Maybe later down the line, maybe, but at first, you know, I would look first to this like $2.68 area for the cycle top, and probably not even there. It'll probably actually be higher after we find our low. But I'm talking like bigger picture stuff here for this cycle, right? For the end of this cycle. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen on the Bitcoin halving date. It's not going to happen on this thing's halving date. It's going to happen at the end of the cycle. That's where the top is. It's at the very end of the cycle. So I'm talking about things that are literally 2 years away from now. Okay, 2 years, if not potentially more or just a little bit less, but something like that, right? Stuff that's going to happen in 2025 or 2026. Really excited about this thing, man. I really haven't even gotten into the TA yet. I'm just teasing here. So looking at this thing, you've got a higher low in your RSI, sure. I wouldn't call it bullish divergence, but I would call it, you could potentially find a low in your RSI around here. What I would expect is if you're done, what would be really nice, I should say, is if you're done, maybe you bounce in the same area that you did before, and then maybe you come up, you have a little relief rally, come back down, and you have a higher low here while having a lower low in the price, and then that would generate some bullish divergence, and then you can turn around. Okay, and do you have enough time to do that? Well, the way that I drew it right there, which to me would make sense, because you would come back up to this kind of like trend line, right, that you have. Maybe it's more like this, I don't know, these like lower highs of a trend line here. You'd come back up and then fall down from there. To me, that would make sense, and this would all happen by the end of this year still. So can that happen in a short amount of time? Sure, but by the end of the year, it's September now. It's the middle of September, October, November, December. We still got 3.5 months left to go. So 3.5 months in the grand scheme of things isn't too long, but I know that can seem forever to some people, especially people who don't have patience, like myself. But we got to be patient, man. I don't care if you have patience or not. You will be forced into it, because if you don't have patience, that's okay. It's okay. Just have discipline to not make stupid decisions. Wait for things to develop. Be patient, whether you want to or not, whether you got it or not. You got to be patient if you want to last in this game. And looking at this, where are we going to go from low here to high there? This 1272, we're at about 1.4 cents now. This 1272 is at literally like 1.05 cents. $0.01052. But I feel more comfortable whenever I say 1.05 cents. If we're talking instead of in dollars like this is, if this was in cents, you'd put your decimal here, right? It's 1.052 cents. We could also go all the way down to the 1618. Absolutely we could, which is all the way at about it's about 64% of a penny, right? Potentially even lower to these deeper extensions. And why is that possible? Well, it's possible because, this thing is a low cap coin, and people make the mistake that low cap coins, because they drop so much, it's like, oh, they can't drop much more. They really can. It doesn't, with low cap coins, it doesn't take as much to move them, especially in a coin that has nodes. What does it require to have nodes? You have to lock up some GALAs, right? I'm pretty sure you have to lock up some GALAs. I don't know, actually, did it say Ethereum? Create GALA account setup. Following this, click the inventory and deposit the required ETH to buy the GALA node. Do I need ETH or GALA for a GALA node? Please note that you will also need ETH to pay for gas fees. Once you have GALA and ETH tokens, you can buy your founders nodes. Okay, so you'll need both. So you will have GALA locked away. So back to what I was trying to say, in a proof of stake thing, the issue that I have with proof of stake, everybody thinks it's so great, and actually, Smooth Operator, I know that you and I talked about it, kind of our hate for proof of stake. I wouldn't say hate, maybe you hate it. I'm more of a skeptic, but that's neither here nor there. The reason I'm not so keen on proof of stake coins is because whenever you have all these nodes, whenever you have a lot of tokens locked up, sure, they're in the circulating supply, but not really. They're locked up, which means that there's less liquidity on the books, which means it's easier to manipulate the price up or down, right? There's less. It's like everybody thinks that taking all the coins off the exchanges is a good thing, and it is, don't get me wrong. It's better to have your coins, like it's more secure to have your coins personally than it is to have it on an exchange. But what we do then is we thin the books on the exchanges. The exchanges, the market makers, have a lot more of an easy time guiding the price of an asset, right? The real price, what we see, if this is like the first time you've heard this, I'm sure a lot of you more experienced traders or people who have been in the market, you're probably aware, but like the price that we see isn't like the true value, right? Like I forget who said it, but like gold, a bar of gold is worth a bar of gold. It's not worth whatever we say it is. We just say it is that, but give it time, it's only going to be worth more, right? This thing, give it time, it'll probably only be worth more. So whatever we say it is, it's not actually the true value of this thing. It's just what we price it in at now. And the people who are pricing it in at now have a easier time manipulating that price when there's thinner order books, right? And why? How do we get thinner books? How do we get less of the circulating supply to be circulating? Well, proof of stake systems, they're perfect for that. You have to lock it up to have a node. And yes, you generate more every single day, but the people that are running their nodes, they gotta, they gotta take profits. They gotta sell so that they can keep their nodes running, and so that they can, they've got a lot locked up. They're probably not just going to not use the money that's given to them. Like that's probably why a lot of the selling has taken place, over time. And it seems, obvious that like that would happen. And this is pretty quick up, and it doesn't look that quick down, but this is a pretty steep decline in a very short amount of time. I mean, 98%, guys, from November 2021. Basically, it took a year to drop 98%. That's a very fast drop. What's nice to see is it's basically been a whole nother year, and we haven't dropped too much further than that, have we? I mean, yes, we're still at 98% drop, but from here, from this low to there, we're only down 12% from that low, and overall, we're down about 78%, which it's still a lot, don't get me wrong, from this high it is, but it's a lot less, and it's taken its time. You can see how this was more steep than this is, and that's nice to see. You want to see, as you're moving lower, you want to see that kind of drop off in the incline. You want to see it getting less steep, if that makes sense. Getting back to like the main motive here on the fibs, talking about this from a low to a high, I really do think that this 1 cent area is going to be a place of interest. We did get below the 618. We actually found it as resistance like for a solid bit there. I would think that the 1272 is the minimum extension that we will see. It is absolutely possible that we could see the 1618, but my only thing with that is if we see the 1272, I think we could see that by the end of this year. I do. The 1618, at the rate that things have been going, if we were to see the 1618 by the end of this year, like the longest amount of time, I mean, like that it's just a little bit steeper to me. I guess it's not. I guess it does fall. Let me see. Let me get these white lines out of the way here and put another one on. From low to low there. I guess we could. Okay, I guess we could see the 1618 by the end of this year, sure. And let's see if that is steeper or less steep, though. Right. From this low here to this low there, that is less steep, okay? And then even from this low to this low, it's still a little bit less steep, actually. So that's fine, okay? So, but just to put it in perspective, right, back to the main point here, case in point, 1 cent to 65% of a penny, 1 cent to 65% of a penny is possible by the end of this year. And I would even say it's likely, somewhere within that range. I was really thinking that it was probably just going to bottom out here. And it really might just bottom out there. But its halving is in July. It has time to make its move down before it moves up. This thing could definitely go all the way to its 1618, whether it's before the end of the year or after the end of the year. Maybe just like this last low. I don't know if you guys noticed, but here you've got a very steep decline, and then it kind of tapers off here. Maybe just like how this is a more steep decline, it might taper off for the actual low, which probably would take us into next year, into 2024, the beginning of 2024, that we find our low. If not, we find our low at the 1272, and I would think that happens this year. But somewhere, again, I feel very confident. It's a big range, but between 64% of a cent or 1 cent itself, somewhere around there, in this nice little friendly looking bubble, is where I would expect price to bottom off. Maybe it doesn't go this low, maybe it doesn't bottom off this high, maybe it goes to the 1414, maybe it goes somewhere into Nowheresville, but somewhere in between is what I would expect. And then from there we can talk upside. Looking at the weekly, the more shorter term stuff, I mean, the RSI, yeah, it's in the oversold zone. I think you really could go a little bit lower, but I mean, you could have a relief rally at any point in time now. You are 3, 4, 5, 6. You are 7 weeks red right now. I don't know if you've ever been. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You've had 11 weeks red before. So, can you stay red longer? Absolutely, you can. You definitely can. Daily, you might not though. But looking at the daily RSI, I would think that you do go lower. You're at the top of this kind of channel down. probably go lower, form some kind of bullish divergence, then maybe you move up. But just because you move up from there doesn't mean that all things are over. You probably are just going to get set up for another lower high overall, probably lower high than this. Maybe you find resistance at this previous area of support or something like that. I don't think that you're forming a double bottom right now. I don't think that this is a bottom. Actually, I do think that you go lower. Looks like you're finding resistance at the oversold zone after coming from in it to try and get out of it. You're being held down, and you're also being held down by this kind of descending trend line. You're in this like, it's like a, I can't, man. It's a channel. It's a channel down like that. Okay, it's a channel. I can't bend my arms. It's not going this way, right? It's going that way. I can do it this way. That's easy. But anyways, I do think that it's going lower based on the daily time frame. It does look like it's going lower. The 4 hour just basically looks like the daily. Though you do have this ascending channel on the 4 hour as well. You have a little bit of a descending channel here, but you do have an ascending channel on the 4 hour. I don't know, man. I think the 4 hour is messing with you. I do think it's going to go lower. You might see that lower break, and in fact, what would probably happen is you break out of this range here when you break out of this like ascending channel here, and you probably do go back to like these. Look at that. It likes to go there, huh? Let's see. Yeah, wow. Right there around 10 is where you like to find a low whenever you make these moves. Look at that. There, kind of close there, right there. A little bit close right there. Look at that. You find you don't really go lower than that, do you? That's kind of cool. Nice to see. Nice to see that kind of respect, man. You don't get too sporadic, but that is a low reading on the RSI. Don't get me wrong. But ultimately, how much lower do you go in like the very near term of things? You know, again, I was saying around like a cent to 64% of a cent, but that's probably going to take months, where this more shorter term move probably takes like weeks to a month. Maybe move down to about 1.2 cents, 1.3 cents, some 1.33 cents even, somewhere in there, just a little bit lower, and then you come back up and you form again another lower high. You probably, I wouldn't be surprised if you went higher than this high here. I would be surprised if you went higher than these lows or higher than that high there, though. You might not go higher than this high. You might find resistance at this previous area of support as well, but who really knows? All I know, all I believe is that it is going down. It's probably going to go down in like very soon, and ultimately work its way down to about the 1 cent to 64% of a cent, just 0.0064, right? Something like that. That's what I would expect. And then from there, we can talk great things. We can talk very, very great things. Until then, I don't have an anchor for this top to bottom to measure the overall fib and see where the extensions are going to be. You have a lot of work to do, GALA. You have a lot of work to do before you break your all-time high. And if you go, let's just say it goes to 1 cent, just below a cent there. That 1272 would be at $2.81. Is a $2 GALA possible? Yes, I would argue that even a $5 GALA is possible by the end of this bull market. Is it possible that you don't get a higher high? That's possible too. That's definitely possible too. You know, as bullish as I want to be on this thing, you might still you'll only see a 60 something X. Maybe you go to your 886 and you only see a 40X. You know, boo-hoo. That's still a lot of money, guys. So one way or another, I do think this thing has a bright future for this bull cycle, and I truthfully do expect that it breaks its all-time high, but don't hold me to that. There's not a lot of historical data on this thing. I'm not a fundamental guy, and I'm basing that decision off of fundamentals. I'm more of a technical guy, and if I was to look at the technicals strictly, I would probably not give it the benefit of the doubt of going up to new all-time highs. I probably wouldn't personally, but that is a lot of volume. That is definitely a lot of volume to see, which is very encouraging, to say the least. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. I know it was kind of a slower paced video. I kind of took my time with it, but that's just the mood I'm in, I guess. So if you liked the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to see more, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.